What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boy, do I have a treat for you. If we've not yet met, my name is Johnny Nitafan. Super excited to be able to share this 35-minute clip with you guys so that you can scale way faster, generating your own high-quality, low-cost life insurance leads. Guys, these are all the marketing secrets, right? Nothing held back so that you can make more money in your life insurance business, that you can become more profitable. You can literally go and fire your lead vendor. You can figure out exactly how you scale, when to kill your ads, when to actually how to increase your ROI so that you can make more money, feed your family, have the freedom that you've been looking for. So super looking forward to you guys checking this video out. Make sure to stay to the end because there are tons and tons of nuggets. If you guys have any more questions, drop in the comments down below. Me or Elijah are actually going to be answering all of them. If you have any questions, there's going to be tons more just like this in my private school community. So check it out down below. The link is in the little description. This is actually from the masterclass that we did here on YouTube. Is about 3.5 hours long. Little 35-minute snippet so that you guys can scale way faster. If you guys need anything, let me know. Can't wait to see you guys in this video. Peace. Who Elijah is, he's actually helping us out a ton with the marketing side. He's helped me a ton with my marketing, with Chase, Max, all the guys here. And so just want to bring him on, just do a quick Q&A and a just like, I think, breakdown a little bit. And this is going to be in the community in school. It's going to be a free breakdown of how Max did $19K on $1,000 ad spend in 5 days. And that's all approved business. But I wanted to kind of give a sneak peek into that in terms of that. I think give a brief kind of backstory into what you've done in the ad space a little bit. Yeah.
Happy to. So I started running traffic to an e-commerce site, multiple e-commerce sites that I own probably about 4 years ago. And advertised and sold prior to that too, but really did like paid and scaled on Facebook and TikTok. And then Johnny and I started working together for his insurance ads themselves. So moving from things being bought online to lead gen and then you guys picking up the phone and closing. And so him and I have been doing that for, gosh, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 months on just that side, but have known each other much, much longer than that. And so, was able to help him really him just being a great closer, but able to help him hit that 73K back a couple months ago, and then help you guys too with those who are in the community scale and close consistently. So that's big picture my journey, e-commerce to start, and then lead gen specifically for insurance for about a year or so from that point.
Yeah, bro. And so kind of like I wanted to break down a little bit for like Max and his strategy and like people here wanting to either start generating their own leads now or maybe later. Like what would you say, like somebody from zero, knowing nothing about generating leads, wanting to start from like scratch, right? Like what are some tips or some advice that you could give them?
Yeah, so talking just to clarify, so someone who, let's say, has been buying leads, maybe wants to generate their own, but has like zero clue where to start.
Yeah.
Okay. So the very, very first thing I would tell you, and it's the first thing I did in ecom and same thing in insurance, is ads library. So on Facebook is your best friend, because that is going to show you every single thing that's running right now, either from competitors that you know that you have, so other people's agencies, lead vendors that you may be buying from already, or if you search keywords like life insurance, final expense, burial, cremation, whatever, that's like the best thing, because every ad that you see up there, there's money behind it. You can't see how much, you can't see what scale, but there's money up there, and you can filter by how long ads have been running for. And the longer an ad's been running, the higher chance that it is that it's really profitable. So that would be, if you have nothing else, that would be where I start. Spend 30 minutes to an hour, go through those things, click on them, see how they look, how they're set up. And then what will end up happening is too, as you scroll through IG or you scroll through Facebook, you're going to start getting targeted by those ads. And so you can interact with them, like them, hit comment. If they're a call to action, like direct response to them, or like to fill out a lead, just see what they're doing. Because what you're doing is basically research and being able to get the playbook for free. And so once you see what is currently working, and we have examples too, if you guys want a place to start, especially for those who may not be in the community, once you see what's working, all you want to do is 3 things. Take it, improve it, and make it your own. So you're not going to just rip their straight up ad, but what is working about it? Is it the picture? Is it the words? Is it the color? Is it the way that it shows up in the feed? Is it calling out a specific audience? Is the policy coverage versus how cheap it is per month really what stands out? Really just take a look. And if you saw this thing in your feed, what is it that could be making it attractive? So you're going to find those things. You're gonna take it. You're gonna make it better. So if it's spaced weird, if you can improve, the targeting. So let's just say it just says for parents, you might go specific to new dads, or to parents with adult children, or to parents between age 21 to 50 or whatever. You're gonna improve it in a way that would be good for the type of clientele that you take it, that you call on. And then number three, you're gonna make it your own. So you're literally gonna recreate the ad in something like Canva. Canva is my absolute favorite. It's free to start. The paid one is like $10 a month. So it's like as cheap as you can possibly get. And you're just going to make it your own. So find it, make it better, and make it your own. And then I would literally just use those ads and test them in Facebook. And we can go over more detail if you guys want, but you can test for super cheap, $5-10 a day. Everyone has $60 a week, $70 a week that you can find to put that up. And I promise you, within 2 to 3 days, you will see if it's going to be beneficial for you or not, because you should be getting at least a lead or two off that a day, even at, $5 or $10 a day. And if you don't get anything, you spend $50, you get 2 leads, they don't pick up, you triple dialed them 3 days in a row, nothing. Scrap that lead, or scrap the ad rather, and go back to the ads library. And you're just going to do that over and over and over and over and over again until you find something. And when you find something that works, and Johnny can attest to this, Max can attest to this, I for sure can attest to this. I've spent many thousands of dollars a day in advertising. When it works immediately. And as you scale, it continues to produce. You will see it'll go from maybe you're spending $10 a day for 4 days and you get 2 leads. And then you try. And then within 3 days, you have like 15 leads. That ad it has a good chance that as you scale it to 20, 30, 50, 100, 200, if you guys have agencies, $500, $1,000 a day, it will literally just continue to get better and just print. And so at a broad level, if you guys do nothing else for marketing, you're gonna do the research for it. You're gonna find what works. You're gonna make it better. You're gonna make it your own. And then once you do those, you can make different variations for different groups you want to go after, different coverage, different colors, whatever. And then you're just gonna test for real cheap. And I told Johnny this too, even if you got 20 grand to play with and spend, when I had hundreds of thousands of dollars in access to credit to spend, I would still start at $20 a day. Because I want to prove for as cheap as possible and as realistically as possible that these things are going to work. And as soon as they work, you just slowly, incrementally start to scale. Because I promise you, you could be able to get more leads than you know how to do with once you find that ad in 2 weeks' time.
A lot of people ask me, do you keep an add-on throughout the weekend or do you shut it off? What's kind of your take on that?
Good question. So how many of you guys, just to get an idea, how many of you guys call Monday through Friday? Like pretty consistently? Okay. Any weekends, like let's say Saturday, keep your hands up if it's Saturday. Okay. Sundays? Okay. It's totally fine. If you are making sales, the number one golden rule of marketing, if it makes money, don't turn it off. So if you're banging phones Monday through Thursday, and then you're spending time with family Friday through Sunday, and you made money Monday through Thursday, in my opinion, keep those ads on.
Yeah.
Back to the beginning part that I said, if you're getting a couple leads here and there, no one's really picking up on third day, now they're kind of getting aged, whatever, that might be something you would consider turning off and using the weekend to, again, do that research, make new ads, etc. But the golden rule of marketing, if it makes money, you don't turn it off. So that's what I would say. Even if you know you're going to take time off, or you don't work Sundays, or every other Saturday, maybe you'll call. I promise you, the couple $100 you'll spend over the weekend, or couple tens of dollars over the weekend, depending where you're at, you will make back in spades. Because in those moments, Facebook is still optimizing your ad. So you still have people that submitted leads on a Friday night at 11:38 p.m. that you're going to call on Monday because you're not working that weekend. You could still close them. You might be getting leads on Sunday that you don't get to call to the next day. You can still close them. And even if you don't, I promise you, for what you're spending Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday when you are banging the phones, you will make back so much more. Again, Max is a great testament. His ads weren't turned off on that $1,000 and he's writing almost 20 grand in business. I mean, I know he's not having to call 24/7. So that's a great example. But again, it's going to go back to that first part. If it's proving itself and you're making money, leave it.
No, that's really good. Interest. So in terms of like finding your perfect person, what would your kind of advice be on interest targeting?
Yeah. So this is kind of twofold. Interests are really on Facebook specifically are really good. They're powerful, but they're just indicators. So if you have a really solid ad, and let's say you're licensed in 10 states and you don't pick a single interest, but your ad is a banger, you've made money on it, that is more important than picking an interest. Because if you pick the perfect super secret interest that no one's ever done and it's untapped and blah blah blah, and your ad is trash, that doesn't mean anything. Conversely, if you have an ad that you know is solid, it's close to what other people are running, you've already made a sale or two on it, the likelihood that Facebook finds the people that need to see it and that you continue to make money is much, much higher if you have a really good ad. So that's just a caveat to
Yeah.
start. As far as interest goes, in my opinion, with states, it's a little bit different because you guys are tied to what you can sell in, right? Or what policies would be covered in that state. So I say that because if you have two states, you're not really going to have a big audience regardless of what you pick. Once you start getting in those double digits, 10, 20, 30, if you're on a team, whatever, it's usually going to yank your lead cost down a bunch regardless of the interest that you pick. So those are the two big caveats. On specifically picking the interest, I would take time to think about the average person that you sell. So how many of you guys have sold an older lady who has some comorbidities and is 78? I'm sure a bunch of you guys, or maybe at least have gotten those people. How many of you guys have sold a young new mom who's 28? One, two, maybe anyone? Okay, perfect. Spanish speaking, whatever your bread and butter is, replacements, whatever, you want to think about where that person exists. So if you're usually selling a senior who's 57, about to retire, has two adult kids, and just is looking for some extra coverage, if that's kind of your average, that specific person exists in different interests. So they exist in the parent interest because they're parents. They probably have interacted with things that are tied to parenthood. They exist in the retiree interest or retirement interest because they're almost of age or they're right there. They may exist in the pet interest because they got two dogs that are the love of their lives and they've spent 10 grand on them a year. But you want to think about what your core type of person is. And then in Facebook, just type in ideas that you have: pets, cruise ships, vacation, um, retiree, insurance, whatever you can possibly think of, and even weird ones, right? Home decor,
Bingo.
whatever. Those people are doing those things because think about how many things we interact with just as normal humans, right? You might go to the gym, you might pick your kid up from school, you might watch a certain show, whatever.
Yep.
So the more you can really think about that type of person that you typically sell or that you want to sell, the more you can generate ideas for interest. And what's wild is that same person, if you target, let's say, life insurance, right? That person might cost you 15, 22 per lead to talk to. But that same person may love their pets. And when you target them in pets, it may cost you $4.22 per. And so that same exact person in that example is over 3 times more expensive in one bucket than they are the other. You're not going to know that until you test, but those are the things that you can start to think through because you can ask Johnny, we've scaled on some of the most wild interests that seemingly don't have anything to do with insurance, but we are getting leads much cheaper than the competition. They're the same exact people, you're just getting them for less. And for the per dollar that you're spending, especially if you're on a budget, you become profitable very, very quickly. So that's kind of how I would think through interest. And then eventually, last thing I'll say before Chase, eventually your goal is to get broad. So once you have an ad that you know is working, you can throw that against the states that you have, the amount of spend that you want, and their age. No interest once you know that ad works, and let Facebook find out who it needs to go target because that's the absolute cheapest way to get quality leads once your ad is dialed. So just to recap for a timeline, figure out the ad, target interest that you think possibly those people could be in, and then eventually take that broad. So basically just no interest, but same ad, just based on age or based on state.
Yeah. Chase, what you got, bro?
One quick question. So I was speaking with somebody today, and he mentioned how like he has like his agents are like reporting their results off of the ads back to Facebook, and then Facebook's like using that data to optimize your ads, so they kind of know like where you're closing and where you're not closing. I'd never really heard of that before, and I'm not really sure if it's like that valuable at all. But do you know very much about that, Elijah?
Yeah, question for you. Are they reporting back, like, let's say the AP that was written?
I think they're reporting back just like which ads they're finding sales from.
Okay.
So
Second
like I
question.
track all my ads. Like I know specifically which of my ads are
Yeah.
performing much better than others. So maybe I'll just tell them that data. But
Okay. Do you know, and you may not know, which is fine, but do you know what metric is getting reported back? I know you said the ad, but do you know how it's showing up back in Facebook?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Probably
So,
AP.
okay. That's kind of what I would think, and that would be more the CRM pushing back. So it's just a like a loop, right? You get them on Facebook, they go into your CRM, you talk to them, you write the policy, they close for whatever value, and then that value gets pushed back to Facebook. That's how I used to run my stuff in ecom. So we would track purchase conversions. So like how many people actually bought, and then what's the average, in our case, the average order value. So for you, it'd just be the average policy. If you can find a way to get your CRM, because you guys all may be using different stuff, if you can find a way to get your CRM to kick back the AP, dude, that puts your stuff on steroids. Because now Facebook has dollar values to assign. You spent $178 to get this person, and 1,100 came back. They love that. So if you can do that, that's the best possible thing you can do. The caveat to that would be Facebook is also really smart. And so even if you can't do that, or you're having trouble doing that, or your CRM for whatever reason doesn't have that data, the more you spend on one certain ad or one interest or one ad set, the more likely it is in Facebook's mind that that thing is performing. Otherwise, you wouldn't be spending money. So that's more of a backup if you can't get that. But if you can, you for sure should be kicking that data back to Facebook so they know. Or they just improve everything.
Makes sense. Steroids sound pretty cool, so maybe I'll try it.
And they're legal in this case. So we can talk offline too. We can take a look, since you're in the community, we can take a look at your stuff. But again, I mean, think about it. If you were a business owner and one person was spending $1,000 a day with you in this specific situation, and another person spending 10, and then this person pushes to 1,200, what do you think the likelihood is that this person is probably making more money, and that you would do everything you could as the provider in that example to help
Right.
that person, right? For cheaper, for better, for more reach, etc. So if you guys can get that data and find a way to tag it, it's usually like in the parameter section. If you can find a way to tag it back to Facebook, that'll probably cut your ad cost by 30 to 40%. And you will just see crazy results coming in from that if you can.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, great question.
Great question, bro. Malcolm, what's up, bro?
Hey, brother, man, thank you for this. This has been a lot of powerful information, especially utilizing the Facebook ads library.
Yeah.
I can't wait to dive into that. And I was wondering, out of since you guys are so prevalent on YouTube, do you use YouTube ads as well as Facebook, or do you just exclusively go with Facebook?
It's
For
just
this kind of,
exclusively Facebook. I'm just gonna chime in
yeah,
here real quick.
yeah,
My philosophy with this stuff, with marketing, is go deep on one platform. And Facebook, it's the everybody's there, right? You can do YouTube, you could do TikTok, you can definitely get results from there. But I think like find a platform that's very fairly simple to use and master that. And then you can touch other platforms. It's not worth going in 3 different platforms and being mediocre at any of them. So I would say like find one and go super deep on there.
yeah,
Go deep, 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 deep. And then when you need to scale at some point, and Elijah is going to be more like this, the guy to answer this question, but like what we've kind of covered is like you want to go very deep with one platform and then think about adding more. So
yeah.
I'll turn it over to you, Elijah, on that.
No, you're totally spot on. I spent well into the 6 figures on Facebook before I ever went to TikTok for e-commerce. And I mean, there's 14-year-old kids in high school class just ripping money out of the sky on TikTok. But that's where they started too, right? Because when they do the opposite, when they try to come to the tried and true Facebook or Instagram, they have a tough time because marketing in and of itself is the same, but the way that you do it, there's so, like what Johnny was saying, there's so many nuances, right? Even if it's just a simple picture or a simple lead form or a simple pick up and dial, whatever, the way that the platforms work, the way that the algorithms work, the way that the people on those platforms work can change. And so once you master one, like he was saying, one vertical of advertising, and Facebook, in my opinion, for the data that you get, for the amount that you can spend versus what you can make, for how much you can track, and how quickly and consistently you can scale, I haven't found anything for your guys' space that beats that yet. But it doesn't mean that Instagram, YouTube, Twitter ads, LinkedIn wouldn't work. I would just say master one, and I'm probably more partial to Facebook, at least as of now.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
It's a good question, dude. Let's see. Yeah, in terms of scaling, right? When have you seen is the right time to be able to scale an ad versus like kill an ad? And what I mean by kill is turn off the ad or keep it going and then scale it in terms of like adding more money behind it. What's kind of your thought process with that? If somebody's just kind of starting out, how do they know if it's an ad's working or not? And then if they should add more money to that or scale it down?
Great question. I'm going to give you guys, and this is the honest truth, I'm going to give you guys what probably cost me about 40 grand to learn, like just straight burn money. So the reason why I mentioned those thresholds in the beginning, $5, $10, 25 if you got the bread, whatever, is because scaling is not, or almost is never, the issue. Facebook will always take your money. So that's clicking add more, clicking going from 25 to 50. That's super easy. It literally takes 2 seconds. That's not the problem. But you want to be very disciplined with your approach to it. Simple, but disciplined. So this is typically the rule of thumb I say. Pick whatever threshold per day that you're okay with spending and spend for a minimum of 3 days. So if it's $10, it's going to be 30. If it's 25, it's going to be 75. If it's $5, it's going to be 15. And commit in your mind that whatever you choose for those 3 days, if you make nothing back, you're okay with that. It's not going to break the bank. That may not be that important at $10 a day, but I promise you, you get in the neighborhood of $300 a day, $500 a day. If you got an agency, 1,000, 2,000, like I was at ecom, almost $3 grand a day. That 3 days of that is heart wrenching if you don't know what it is that you're doing. So whatever threshold you pick, and whenever you make a change could be adding new ads, launching new ads, tweaking an ad, raising a budget, decreasing a budget, any kind of fundamental change you make to Facebook, be okay with it being as is for 3 days. So you launch something on a Monday at midnight, end of day Wednesday, you're going to be checking performance. If you're making sales and stuff on it, great. And I'll touch on that in a second. You may be able to scale earlier, but my rule of thumb is always 3. Number 2 to that, and I'll go over the metrics to look to scale with in a second. Facebook used to be a place where you could literally double ad spend, 10 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 80 every single day, and you would just be printing. This is like 2017 to 2019, maybe 2020. It's not the case anymore. If you scaled that aggressively because you're excited, you made a sale, you made a couple sales, you got to follow up, whatever, the likelihood that you tank your ad by doing that type of aggressive scaling is very high. So my rule of thumb and Johnny's rule of thumb is whatever the budget is that you pick, after 3 days, you can scale a minimum. We would recommend scaling a minimum of 20% of whatever it is that you have per day. So a minimum of 20 to a maximum of 50%. If you're in the $10 range, you don't have to do like 10 to 50. You could double if you want, but for sure, once you get past about 50, maybe 100, for sure 100, I would caution to go a little more conservatively, because if you do the math, if you're at $20 a day and then you go to 30, there's a 50%. Then you go from 30, let's say, to 45, there's a 50%. You only need to do that 5 times, 6 times. You'll be at $300, $400, $500 a day, depending on how many ads that you got. And for most agents that are on their own, you don't really need more than probably $300 a day in spend, like unless you're going to be calling 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. You're literally going to waste money on leads, which again may or may not be a bad thing. You may not care if you're printing, that's cool. But I promise you 20, 30, maybe 50% after 3 days, over 2 weeks, 3 weeks period of time, you will be literally having maybe a dozen or so leads a day that you cannot touch because of the conversations you're having, the presentations, the follow-ups on the contracts, the dials that you got to make. You're just going to have dead leads sitting there, or they'll eventually be dead by the time you can get to them. It's much, much easier to scale up. It is almost never a good idea to scale down unless you're at a point where you're optimized, you don't need to spend that much, you can pull it down. So that's for the ad side. On the sales side, and if you guys are not tracking these stats, I would. Dials, contact rate, so how many people pick up, presentations, and closes. Those would be the 4 things that I would track. Those are really sales metrics, but as Johnny knows, sales feeds marketing and marketing feeds sales. So when you're spending 10, 20 bucks a day, it might be 4 or 5 days until you actually get into a point, because you're really not spending that much, that you have a presentation, maybe a couple presentations, maybe a close. But those 4 metrics are going to be indicative at a low amount of money that you're spending that you could make a sale. So if you're getting leads for $5 a lead, pretty solid cost, pretty cheap cost, and you're spending 20 bucks a day, you're getting 4 leads. Could you close one? Maybe, but how many of you guys have a consistent 25% close rate across the board? Probably not there. 10% might even be high, right? But let's just say on average, you close about a 5%. So you talk to 20 people, you're closing 1. If you're spending $20 a day and you're getting 4 leads a day, you need 5 days in that example of spend on paper to close 1. So that 3-day rule I talked about, you guys will know yourself better than we do. If you know you close about 5%, you're getting about 4 or 5 leads a day, you know how many days you need to spend until you close. If by the time that you get to those 20 leads in that example, you have not closed 1 yet, but you've presented to 10% or more of people that you spoke to, so you had at least 2 presentations, the likelihood that in the next day or even next couple hours that you close is very, very high, because you've done the work, you've had the presentations. 2 people closing, not closing, that's a pretty small amount of people to deal with. But it could just be 2 more leads that you call in the morning, first thing on Thursday, that you do get a close. It's $1,000 that you're getting paid out. You only spent $100 and now you're in business. The 10x, that's absolutely monstrous, but it's also not that crazy in your guys' world. So to recap, know your 4 sales metrics. How many dollars are you making? How many conversations are you having? How many presentations are you doing? And how many sales are you closing? That 4th one may not come if you're not spending that much money. But if the other 3 are dialed, and particularly if you are presenting to 10 or more % of people that you're speaking to, you have a very, very good chance that you're going to close. On the flip side, you've done the dials, you've had the conversations, and you either haven't had presentations, so you're under 10%, or you've presented a bunch and not a single person is even remotely qualified, close to closing, has money, whatever, that may be a time to turn off those ads. Because again, the likelihood that you spend another 20 leads and close 1 is not as high. And even if you do, profit-wise, you may not be where you want to be. And the truth is, it's probably your ad. It's probably not you if you're doing those other 4 things.
No, it's really good. A lot of people would say, all right, peace out, Nancy. A lot of people would say, and I'm just curious your philosophy here. So sales and marketing are 2 different skills. When you're starting out, or just in general as an agent, those are 2 skills that are necessary and you can make millions with on both sides. What's the balance of doing one or the other or both as an independent agent wanting to scale 20, 30,000 a month consistently for themselves?
Good question. I would say in the beginning, if you want to give it a percentage, my opinion, if you're at 0, you want to get to 20 a month net, you're probably at about a 20% importance of ads and 80% sales process, consistency, mindset, etc. However, that 20% of ads may take you 80 or 90% of your time because you just may not have that skill yet, and that's okay. But you need to develop it. As you scale, as you may add people to your team, as you may be spending $300 to $500 a day, you have to become a proficient marketer, or you have to find someone that can be. Because to be frank, if you got a good ad, you could probably sit on that ad for 3 or 4 months, still make money, maybe swap some of the interest, get contracted in another state. Those things may help you. But at some point, those ads are going to get tired, which is why, I mean, advertising is a massive industry, just like sales is. There's a reason for that. People need new creative consistently because people get bored. People already seen that. I don't know what you're going to say. This is the 15th, final expense ad I've seen, etc. So I would say 20-80 in the beginning. As far as if you're going to spend and really measure, it needs to be on the sales side. But don't be alarmed if that 20% of ads importance takes you 80 or 90% of your time, your free time to learn, because that is a fundamental skill. It's not something you may have to do forever. You can find someone else to do it. Obviously, some of you guys may be buying leads, so someone else may currently be doing it for you. But if this is something that you want to own your lead source, keep costs down, actually take home profit, not just write policies. That is something to fundamentally understand. And it will become more important for sure as you scale. So that's kind of the balance that I would say between those two to start.
Yeah. Dude, that's huge. Kind of as we wrap up here, any other marketing advice that you'd give to a life insurance agent wanting to own their own lead source?
Yeah. In ecom, there's a saying, and there's also one for funnels. You may have heard like you're one funnel away from whatever your dream outcome is, right? The same can be said about ads, especially if you're a solo producer. One ad, I kid you not, you can ask Johnny, one ad, you can literally change your life. So that may be your 57th ad that you've made. That may be the 200th ad that you've saved, researched, tweaked, and launched. But that one ad, the best ecom ad I ever had, I spent like $107,000 just on that ad. It had, I don't even know how many millions of impressions. And that thing was doing consistently $300 to $3,500 a day in revenue, completely automated for me. So once I did all the work, it was completely automated. That ad, to get to that ad, it took me 4 years to learn how to market and a lot of money that I lost beforehand. But once that ad was up, when it literally day one made money, and I was kind of skeptical, like, oh, okay, I've seen ads make money and kind of die out, whatever. Day three, it doubled, and I had not increased the amount of money. And by the time I was 3 weeks in, that thing, like clockwork, was spitting out 20 to 30K a week. And so again, I share that to you guys that yes, that 4 years is a long time, and you don't need to be nearly as invested in marketing. We're talking about picture ads. Like any of us can spend a couple hours, learn how to switch colors in Canva, learn how to write some stuff at the top, because it's all out there. Like Malcolm mentioned, Facebook Ads Library, I still use it. I'll be using this today after this call. It is like the GOAT when it comes to that kind of stuff. But the iterations that you do, even if you feel like you're banging your head against the wall, it's not working, I should just go back to buying leads, whatever, even if you do end up going back to doing those things, or you have someone else do it for you, or if you join the community and taking care of it for you, whatever, knowing how to do that for yourself, you can literally create money on demand, but it is a skill that you have to sharpen. But all it really takes is one ad to print, and that ad can literally buy you in a couple months' time, maybe a couple of years of savings, depending on how your sales process and your discipline goes. So at a big picture, that's what I would say is learn the skill of marketing. Don't allow it to take focus from your sales side, but you really are only looking for that one winner, and you can scale and make a lot of money off that.
Yeah. Dude, appreciate you. This is kind of the preview into our school community we got for free. And it's going to be kind of covering like a lot of these things, but just in a very short amount of time so that you guys get your ads up and running ASAP. So be on the lookout for that. That's launching later this week, early next week. In the school community, it's completely free. We're going to be doing support calls like this as well. So if you haven't already, apply there to school. Again, it's completely free, but this is going to wrap up the.
Hey,
Go
Johnny,
ahead.
sorry, real quick. Seth had a question. Seth, I just wanted to clarify, when you say, does it matter if you do Facebook leads form or direct calendar link? Do you mean like if the, excuse me, if the ads, when you click on it, if it shows a Facebook link versus maybe takes you off and makes you book a call? Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, good question. Honestly, both work. The way that we tend to set up our ads is very simple Facebook lead form, like really, really simple. And we have the steps that we can go over later. And then at the end, once they've submitted, you can also have, it'll say, thank you for your information. Someone will call you shortly, etc. And on that last page at the bottom, it will also say schedule an appointment or book a call. So we basically double dip on both. But even if they don't book a call because you guys are going to bang the phones anyway, we still have their lead information. So it's still a qualified lead. If they want to pre-book and you're going to get your calendars filled, awesome. We'll have that right at the end. You click on it, it'll pull up a calendar or whatever you use, and they can book there if you'd like. But that hybrid is a really, really good way to keep lead costs real cheap. Because sometimes when you go off Facebook, your cost is going to double or triple. Could still be a really good quality lead, but you do have to be a good marketer when it comes to pulling traffic off because it'll be more expensive. So the way that you can kind of work around that, and you don't want really trash, only autofill real basic information forms. Have a form that, makes them autofill some stuff, type in a couple things, and then right at the end, gives them an option to schedule if they want. If they don't want, no problem. They're getting a call in 5 minutes from you anyway. So hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah. Max, what's up, bro? You're muted.
Hello, 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 hello.
Sir. There we
Okay,
go.
unrelated, but Johnny, I was talking to John and he like told me that there was actually like a lapse prevention workflow. So I just like threw like 10 people in there and I just got like 2 policies back on the books.
Bro.
Oh, those are big policies too. I was like, man, if these lapse, it's not going to be pretty. So
Love it, bro.
I know it's not marketing, but I felt I have to share that because man, that's huge. So
Yeah.
stressful, especially when companies don't have SS billing. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Dude, I love it. That's huge.
Yeah, huge.
Part of the CRM we use. So it's awesome, bro. Love to hear it. So, guys, thanks so much for coming to watch the end of this. We're going to be doing more of these coming soon. Let me know if you guys enjoy this. I know it's like a longer, we've been going for like 3.5 hours, but let me know if you guys like this style of content. If this was helpful for you guys. If you guys are on YouTube, on Zoom, appreciate you guys hopping on here. Lots more to come here in 2024. Super excited to announce some things that we got cooking up, but appreciate you guys hopping on here. I'll see you.